Birdman is losing himself, falling asleep mid-peak performance while the world watches. He built one of hip-hop's biggest empires from the trenches, only to watch it crack under lawsuits, snake moves, and personal ails. His tragic fate ain't death. It's his legacy slowly eroding in public. Let's break it down. The decline.
Can't no hurt me worse than I already been hurt. I lost my mama, my daddy, my brother, my sister, my grandmother, my grandfather, my grandmothers on both sides, my partners. I'm already dead, nigga, inside. So this little funny shit that I chose music, I'm not tripping.
A whole new wave of concern hit Birdman, this time about his physical and mental state. The OG was looking rough out here and the streets noticed. The Hot Boys Reunion Tour, a throwback run featuring Birdman alongside Lil Wayne, Juvenile Turk, and BG, kicked off in early 2025. This was the first time the whole squad performed together since 2000, a major moment for the culture, but instead of celebrating the comeback, viral footage caught Birdman looking like he was nodding off on stage. In the clip, the 56-year-old's head drops out of nowhere, and he stays motionless for like 15 seconds while standing behind Turk during the set. BG had to tap him to wake him up. The video spread everywhere and had everybody in their feelings. Fans were pressed. Comments on social media told Birdman to put the cup down, talking about Leanne, that codeine and promethazine scissor that's been part of Southern hip-hop culture forever. Others speculated it was age catching up, pointing out how other industry vets like Irv Gotti and Fat Man Scoop had been going through it around the same age. The homies tried to play it off, Turk said. I don't know what be going on, man. I be in Turk's world doing what I'm doing. They gonna always turn something into something that ain't it. BG laughed it off on Drink Champs, saying they all thought it was funny. But then, a separate clip from an October 2025 Harlem event showed Birdman nodding off again, and the internet went crazy again. His people blamed it on a brutal tour schedule and being tired, but speculation about lean relapse, seizures, or other health issues kept swirling. People was really worried about the big homie. The health concerns came right around the same time. Tea was spilling about Toni Braxton, who had secretly married Birdman in August 2024. Only to file for divorce just 2 weeks later. The filing got dismissed in January 2025. So technically they still married, but both of them scrubbed each other's photos off social media. And Braxton stopped rocking her wedding ring. It was a whole mess. In October 2025, Braxton finally started talking about Cash Money's death rituals. She made it clear these weren't literal voodoo or occult practices. They were symbolic of a toxic culture that ran deep in the organization. She described a system that enforced loyalty through wild mechanisms. Matching tattoos, men kissing in public, everybody calling Birdman daddy, flexing luxury whips lined up on camera, counting stacks for the gram. These rituals demanded that artists give up their independence and sense of self. If you bucked, you got pushed out or straight up erased. Braxton called it a secret society where you had to prove your loyalty before you got put on, and gifts were tools of control, not love. That's some cult energy right there. Braxton pointed out how this toxic environment was poisoning Birdman himself. Manifesting in his 2025 onstage episodes, she and insiders saw those moments as potential lean relapses or the bat ragu of the empire turning inward and eating its creator. For Braxton, being tied to Cash Money made her own lupus and heart surgery battles even worse. So she had to bounce for her own sanity and survival. Birdman reportedly fired back at Braxton, calling her a gold digger who wanted half of his $160 million bag and allegedly pawned her $5 million engagement ring. The accusation split the internet. Some defended Birdman's boss moves, while others felt for Braxton trying to escape what she called a destructive environment. December 2025, rumors about Birdman allegedly creeping with Braxton's sister got shut down quick by both parties. Tamar said she's the one who introduced Birdman to Toni in the first place and sees him as family, suggesting the marriage might still be low-key intact. The death rituals, the health scares, the crashed marriage, All of it pointed to a man whose empire was consuming him from the inside out. When the energy you pad out comes back around, it don't ask permission, but to understand how Birdman got here, you got to go back to the beginning, back to the mud, where it all started. From the mud to the money. Brian Christopher Brooks was born on February 15th, 1969 in New Orleans, Louisiana. He came into this world in the Magnolia Projects, a housing complex known for poverty, street life, and survival. He was raised alongside 10 brothers and 12 sisters. The hood was all he knew. His mama, Gladys Brooks, held it down for him in those early years. Birdman would later call her Miss Gladys and credit her for what little stability he had. But that stability was on thin ice. In interviews, Birdman has kept it 100th about how rough his upbringing really was. I was born in poverty. I was raised by junkies in boys' home all my life. So I just thought maybe I'm just a chosen one. By age 14, Birdman was already getting money in the streets. He claims he saw his first milli before turning 15, not from music, but from trapping at 16. He and his stepbrother caught a case for heroin possession and distribution. He did 18 months behind bars. When I come out to bars home, I went straight to the streets cause my part. He got shot up and he went to jail for a murder. So right after that, the streets became my life. I chose that underscore in 1991 when he was just 22. Birdman and his brother, Ronald Slim Williams, started Cash Money Records. The label started as an independent grind focused on that New Orleans bounce music. Slim dropped out of school in the 7th grade, but Birdman always gassed him up for being smart with the bread. One of my brother, Ronald Williams, my everything. My brother dropped out of school in the 7th grade. Super intelligent, know how to make money, get money, and keep money. The brothers put together the Hot Boys crew featuring Juvenile, BG Turk, and a young Lil Wayne, who Birdman discovered when Wayne was just 9 years old, a straight young with bars. By 1998, Cash Money secured a $30 million bag from Universal Records. Albums like Guerrilla Warfare and bangers like Bling Bling had the whole game unlocked. But even as the racks started piling up, tragedy hit the family. In 1996, Birdman's pops, Johnny Williams, was killed in a car accident. Another L stacked on top of a life already full of pain. Birdman has chopped it up about how all that loss shaped him and made him cold. Can't no hurt me worse than I already been hurt. I lost my mama, my daddy, my brother, my sister, my grandmother, my grandfather, my grandmothers on both sides, my partners. I'm already dead. Underscore inside. So, this little funny underscore that I chose music. I'm not tripping. By his early 20s, Birdman went from the bricks to receiving $30 million from Universal. He couldn't even believe it was real. I was 20. Universal gave me $30 million. I thought I was dreaming, brother. Like I couldn't believe that I had this much money. The label kept blowing up through the 2000s. Lil Wayne's T.H. Carter series, signings like Drake and Nicki Minaj. Cash Money was generating racks on racks on racks. Birdman's net worth peaked around $160 million. He claims he made $2.5 billion with Universal over his whole run. Made $5 billion with Universal, and they made $800 million off of me. Ain't none of these ever saw a B. You kept the lights on over there pretty much. Ain't no C, no B in this underscore like I have. Getting to this level came with a price. Early in his career, Birdman admits he ain't know the business like that, and that lack of game won't come back to bite him. Those early incidents would grow into full-blown beefs, lawsuits, and public drama that would define the next chapter of his career. The come-up was official, but the downfall was already loading. In the background, the finesse machine. Cash Money Records became legendary for making hits, but also for allegedly finessing artists out of their bread, holding up albums and using pressure tactics to keep people in line. The pattern was textbook. Artists would sign, blow up, then publicly called out Birdman and Slim for playing them. The biggest and most painful beef was with Lil Wayne, the artist Birdman had raised since Wayne was a shorty, the one he called his son. In 2015, Wayne came at Birdman with a $51 million lawsuit, saying he never got his advances and royalties right. Wayne claimed Birdman pocketed over half of a $100 million deal with Universal. The lawsuit exposed deep cracks in what Birdman always painted as a family. Wayne accused Birdman of linking up with Universal to keep the profits from him. The case dragged through the courts for years before they finally settled in 2018. When asked about the situation, Birdman admitted it's his biggest regret. If you could take one thing back in your career that you did, you could just take it back. What would it be? My situation with Wayne. That hurt me more than anything, because I loved it. And I meant nothing but right. I thought I did right. I changed his life. I changed his mama life. I changed everything about him. Birdman says he eventually made things right by pulling up to Wayne's crib and blessing him with even more than he asked for. I said, let's put this underscore behind. How much you want that? Underscore said 50. All right. You had that underscore in the morning. And we did that, and that was over with. But that's what's up. He ain't even asked for 50. I gave him 50. On God, he ain't asked for 50. But Wayne wasn't the only one who felt played. Similar smoke came from Juvenile, BG, Manny Fresh, and hella other artists. They accused Birdman of locking him into trash contracts with 8,020 splits, recruitment schemes, and ghost royalties. If you stepped out of line, your album got shelved or you got blackballed. Birdman has acknowledged the early fumbles, but says he squared up every debt. Man, Fresh. I just wanted to have a clearing relationship with people that I started the business with. Everybody that I started with, I'm in good space with them. Fresh know what I did now, know what I did. Wayne know what I did. If not, you think they'll be underscore me? Yeah, they underscore with me for a reason. Producer Manny Fresh, the genius behind that signature Cash Money sound, eventually bounced from the label over publishing and royalty disputes. Birdman admitted he was clueless about publishing back in the day. And I was just talking to Fresh today. Me and Fresh was on the phone, right, and I was telling Fresh, bro, I swear to God, I ain't know nothing about this publishing. I didn't know. And Fresh used to be like, cause Fresh was on before me, right? And he was like, Stunner, bro, we got publishing money. Bro, we're supposed to be getting royalties. The accusations kept haunting Birdman's rep online. Folks stay comparing him to Diddy and Suge Knight, highlighting patterns of control and throwing people away when they're done. He's been called one of the most grimy figures in the rap game. When people put him on blast about not paying, Birdman clapped back. I don't get my feelings in it. But two never took anything from them. Underscore is constantly blessed by me. However, why does underscore continue to say that? I'm not sure what I'm saying, you know. Why is underscore always saying that, bro? Like everyone else. Producer, these people like that underscore don't pay, dude. Beyond the controversy surrounding the lawsuit, there is the truly awkward circumstance of Birdman moving in with Lil Wayne when Wayne was still a child. In that notorious movie from the 2000s, Birdman kissed Wayne on the lips. Birdman claims that this was just a father-son-like gesture since I was living on the streets, and I believed that this would be the last time they would ever see me. I always thought of Wayne as my son. Oh no, I mean, I was living that way, right? That's when it truly began. I thought, oh, even more bizarre, Wayne has openly claimed that when he was only 11 years old, Birdman set him up to lose his virginity to an adult lady. Blatantly exploitative. Actions that some have referred to as abuse and grooming. That discovery placed a crazy shadow over their whole partnership. The skill went beyond music as well. Birdman and Slim founded Bronald Oil and Gas LLC in 2010, but no proof of the company's actual activity could be found. Birdman obtained influence by getting a pump jack tattoo, but the company appeared to be more of a facade than a legitimate enterprise. Throughout it all, Birdman maintained that no one in the business has put on more people than him, and that his victories outweigh the turmoil. The man thinks he is the GOAT of blessings. The streets were covered in blood. Allegations of and treachery among Birdman's closest circle would be far more devastating to his reputation than the money drama. Sometimes the streets follow you on into the boardroom when you act like a boss. Has Cash Money gained popularity in the late 1990s? The label was surrounded by violence. After a disagreement, artist Yellow Boy was smoked in 1997. In 1998, Kilo G was murked. Although no charges ever stuck, the streets have been linking these bodies to Birdman's purported escape attempts. The most absurd. Lil Wayne's tour van was shot up in Atlanta following a gig in April 2015. The whip was hit by bullets, but no one was hurt. One of Young Thug's henchmen, James Pee Wee Roscoe Carlton, was charged on 30 charges, including aggravated assault, according to court records from Cobb County, Georgia. Phone records that showed conversations between Birdman Thugger and the gunman at the exact moment of the incident allowed investigators to link Birdman to the hit. According to the indictment, Wayne's $51 million lawsuit against Birdman and Cash Money was the reason behind the entire maneuver. Attorneys stated that Young Thug and Birdman planned to kill Wayne, despite being mentioned in the documents. Birdman was never prosecuted. He called a cap and denied everything. Jimmy Winfrey, the trigger guy, received a 10-year bid. The smoke went well beyond Wayne's predicament. According to reports, Birdman's signing of Young Thug to Rich Gang put him at odds with wealthy friend Quan. This led to an Atlanta conflict that resulted in the shooting deaths of Quan's parents and the murder of Big Nut, the president of a rival label, and more than 50 fatalities in the city between 2014 and 2016. As stated by according to other stories, Cash Money's name continued to be mentioned when the streets were boiling. Birdman's artist BTY Young N was slain in a dubious move in 2017. Birdman immediately deleted all of his Instagram pictures and just shared a memorial. When your artist fades, there's no reason to clean your entire timeline. People began to wonder what he was attempting to conceal. Birdman's own blood may have been the most heinous betrayal of his life. Not Slim, but Terrence Gangsta Williams, his other brother. Birdman allegedly put on Terrence to do dirt when Terrence was still a little boy, which led to more than 20 bodies and a life sentence in 2001. Terrence was working out here, supposedly under Birdman's supervision. Birdman abruptly interrupted Terrence when he eventually landed down in 2024, claiming he had broken the street code. After Terrence had cooperated with the authorities to get free, the action was criticized for being cold-blooded. Due in part to actions related to his brother's world, Terrence spent more than 20 years in prison. The moment he cooperated to get his release, he was left on red. You leave him hanging, and that's your blood. There were opinions on the streets. When it comes to his views on loyalty and getting involved, Birdman has always maintained his composure. He has been very open in interviews about what he does to safeguard his creation, and I'm willing to murder and die over that. I surpass any underscore who has ever worked in the music industry. No success at all. There isn't a single underscore on earth. I sacrificed everything for the game. However, I'm ready. I was prepared, and I'm still ready to pass away, Ovithas. More importantly, though, I'm willing to murder Ovithas. Oh, my mother. Yes, she did. When Birdman slid through the Breakfast Club studio in 2016 and confronted Charlemagne the God for all the smooth language, that energy became public. Respect my name! It became one of the most famous moments in the history of hip-hop media. The video went viral, demonstrating to everyone that Birdman wasn't one to ignore problems. Later, Birdman thought back on the events of that day. I felt as though my daughter had been kept. Why does he stick with you like that, Daddy? She doesn't speak to him, but I don't listen to the... So why does he keep me in the dark? I don't listen to the radio these days. Do you believe they were only interacting with you or simply carrying out their duties? No, I believe he went a bit too far with me. My only goal when I went there was to tell my brother to stop playing with me. You don't know me, but observe how you treat others and treat me with the same decency. The familial snake maneuvers. The bodies and the purported plans all depicted a man who created an empire using techniques that went far beyond simply sound business judgment. Birdman has been a topic of conversation on the streets for decades. The reckoning. Birdman hasn't collapsed in spite of all the controversy. He continues to work in the industry, stacking paper from his renowned collection and educating artists. The luggage never ends. The mere existence of such wealth. He is currently concentrating on coaching NBA YoungBoy and accompanying him on tour to ensure that he maintains focus and makes his bread correctly. Birdman believes YoungBoy will land a record-breaking $300 million contract and become the greatest artist that has ever appeared in the game. NBA YoungBoy may be the biggest rapper, in my opinion. 5 years, I say? When you say big, what do you mean? There won't be anything greater than NBA YoungBoy. Numbers are truthful. He is currently the world's most popular YouTube artist. He was also behind the wall. Oh, Birdman sees in YoungBoy what he used to see in Young Thug and Wayne. That rare talent that has the potential to become something enormous. He recognizes himself in the youth. He's a young boy, dude. That it's not typical that... No, he's not typical. He is unique. That's big money, buddy. $1 billion. I tell him that I think he's worth $1 billion. Every day, I speak with him. Bro, he calls me every day. In real life, he is worth $1 billion. However, Birdman has also made references to taking a step back. He has discussed relaxing following his last endeavors with Lil Wayne, such as the upcoming Father Like Son 2 album. Even though he has stopped spitting himself, he is quick to remind everyone that he still eats better than the majority of rappers. No, none of that is what I'm doing. I've finished it. Even now, I still have more fun than those rappers. With all due respect, rappers are what I make. Yes, together we also make money. Birdman expressed his desire to attend college, regrets not receiving the education he was deprived of while living on the streets. He has considered how emotionally taxing the public dispute is dealt with Wayne and the chances for personal development that eluded him. His financial status is still up for question due to lawsuits, foreclosures, and losses on poor investments. Estimates place his current net worth between $100 million and $150 million. His Miami Beach property was eventually seized after he was hit with a $12 million foreclosure case in 2017. However, there were signs of a return in 2025. According to reports, Birdman bought a $42 million mega mansion on a private peninsula in Miami, proving that the downward story was over. His catalog continues to bring in between $20 and $40 million annually. Money is still printed. Without releasing any new music, I earn $20, $30, or $40 million annually, only from my old songs, away from your master's degree. Despite everything, Birdman maintains his defiance. He feels that the industry isn't giving him the roses he deserves, and he attributes this to his background. You believe that you are a street gangster, or that you are a gangster? What do you say? A criminal. He continues to believe that he has accomplished more in the music industry than anyone else. I'm not going to give up. Okay, you guys are capping. You guys are having fun. You guys don't understand. You're not going to play. You are unable to. None of these, in my opinion, can out-hustle it. in music, not a planetary should feel that way. This is what Eminem said. That's not only how I feel that these facts. Birdman's terrible destiny is not the result of a single horrific incident. It is the culmination of many years. The family snake moves, the lawsuits, the accusations, the bodies, the deteriorating health, and the public humiliation. He created one of the most prosperous empires in hip-hop history, putting on icons like Young Thug, Lil Wayne, Drake, and Nicki Minaj. However, the strategies purportedly employed to establish that empire created a legacy of strained relationships and legal disputes. He emerged from the muck career and is currently dealing with the last phase of his career amid scandal. On stage, his body appears to be collapsing. In a matter of weeks, his marriage collapsed. His brother is still disconnected. He has been publicly chastised by former musicians for performing them. Birdman continues to push despite this every day. He thinks about the bread when he wakes up. He serves as a mentor to the younger generation. He claims to have blessed more lives than anybody else in the business. I can't be harmed any more than I already am. Been wounded. My mother, father, brother, sister, grandmother, grandfather, grandmothers on both sides, and partners were all lost. Inside, I'm already dead. I'm not tripping over this small, amusing underscore that I selected music. In any case, doesn't anyone want to see anyone die? So, brother, I'm not tripping. Apart from that, though, brother, I'm not attempting to accomplish that. I'm already wounded. Therefore, I'm not trying to accomplish anything. I was damaged from birth. Perhaps that is the most heartbreaking aspect of it all. A man with everything, hundreds of me's, an iconic catalog, respect from the important people, but he says he's already dead on the inside. A man who was born broken and spent his whole life attempting to fill an emptiness that can't be filled. Birdman's terrible destiny isn't death. It's living with all you've created around by the debris of your construction process. That's the actual L. Until then, click to view our other videos done on the display. Hey!